You ever get tired of the piles, the clutter? You ever get tired of sticky notes? I'm a list guy. I'm a to-do list guy. I carry yellow legal pads. I must keep them in business. When I have a day off, I make a to-do list of what I want to do in the day off. And here at work, the same thing. And I just love checking things off. You ever wish you could just clear the entire desk and start over? That feels better. A fresh start, a clean desk. That's what Sabbath is. Sabbath is one day in a week that gives us a clean desk, that invites us to a fresh start. I tuck this off to the side to keep it safe. What does Sabbath mean to you? For some it means going to church, and okay, it does, but it's more. For others it means resting and maybe sleeping all day, and that's not out of the question. I have over recent days and weeks been trying to teach certain practices, certain disciplines to help us experience the abundant life Jesus offers. We've looked at meditation, we've looked at breath prayers, we've looked at journaling, we've considered solitude, and just recently we looked at gratitude, of writing thank you notes to God, to one another. I believe, and I've saved this one for now, I believe that one of the most important spiritual practices in our life, so that we have balance, isn't that what we all want, is balance? Is the practice of Sabbath, of resting. Abraham Heschel, favorite author of mine, says this: 6 days a week we seek to dominate the world by our work. On the seventh day of the week, we seek to dominate ourselves by resting in the work of God. I love that. There's a story about the keeper of the stream. I'd like to share it with you. There was once a town high in the Alps that straddled the banks of a beautiful stream. The stream fed the springs that were down in the area of the village. The water was clear like crystal. Children laughed and played beside it. Swans and geese swam on it. You could see the rocks and the sand and the rainbow trout swimming at the bottom of the stream. High in the hills, far beyond anyone's sight, lived an old man who served as keeper of the spring. He'd been hired so long ago that no one could remember a time that he wasn't there. He'd travel from one spring to another in the hills, removing the branches and the fallen leaves or the debris that could pollute the water. But his work was largely unseen. One year, the town council decided they had better things to do with their money. No one supervised the man anyway. They had roads to repair, taxes to collect, and services to offer. Giving money to an unseen stream cleaner became a luxury that they could no longer afford. So the old man left his post. High in the mountains, the springs were unattended. Twigs and branches and worse muddied up the stream. Mud and silt compacted the creek bed. Farm waste turned parts of the stream into stagnant, smelly bogs. For a time, nobody in the village noticed. But after a while, the water just wasn't the same. It began to look brackish. The swans flew away elsewhere to live. The water no longer had a crisp scent that drew children to play by it. Some people in the town began to grow ill. All noticed the loss of the sparkling beauty that used to flow between the banks of the stream that then fed the town. The life of the village depended on the stream, and the life of the stream depended on the keeper. The city council reconvened. The money was found. The old man was rehired. After yet another time, the springs were cleaned. The stream was pure. Children were playing on the banks again. Illness was replaced by health. Swans came home, and the village came back to life. The life of the village depended on the health of the stream. The stream is your soul and my soul. You and I are the keeper of that stream. And so you see, dear ones, Sabbath is important because it helps to refresh and to rest and to nourish our souls. Biblically, I find it interesting, I haven't caught this until late, that there are two specific commands for us to rest, to observe Sabbath. One is built on the spiritual reflection of God, on praying, if you will, to pray. The other command to observe the Sabbath is built on playing. Sabbath has this balance of praying and playing. Let me read to you Exodus 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you'll labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you will not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your male or your female servant, or your cattle or your sojourner who stays with you. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and he rested on the seventh day. Therefore, the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. See, Exodus would say that we are to observe the Sabbath so that we can pray, so that we can reflect on God who for 6 days worked, but on the seventh day he rested. The observance of the Sabbath is rooted on meditation, on reflection, on who God is. But then, fascinating way, we read in Deuteronomy chapter 5 that there's a different reason for observing the Sabbath. Deuteronomy 5, observe the Sabbath day to keep it holy as the Lord your God commanded you. 6 days you will labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath of the Lord your God, and in it you won't do any work, you or your son or your daughter or your male servant or your female servant or your ox or your donkey or any of your cattle or your sojourner who stays with you, so that your male servant and your female servant might rest as well as you. You will remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out of there by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God commands you to observe the Sabbath day. See, in Deuteronomy, the Sabbath day is a snow day. Who doesn't love a snow day? You get up in the morning, you're planning on going to work, and you hear that work got canceled, school got canceled, and you have this unexpected day on the calendar. And what are you going to do with that? Make some soup? Go out and make a snowman? Watch some movies? Binge on Netflix? It's a snow day. And Deuteronomy says, you were a slave, now I want you to play. Imagine that God wants us 52 days out of the year to have a snow day, to play and to pray, to reflect on who God is and what he has done, to find our rest, our peace, not in what we do or how productive we are or how many things we cross off on the to-do list, but to find our rest, our satisfaction in what God has accomplished. Try it. I invite you to remember the Sabbath day. If not for a whole day, if that seems too out of reach, try a half day. Try 2 hours in a day. Clear the desk. You don't have to do it as radically as I did, but get rid of the to-do list. The goal in a Sabbath day is this: try not to be productive. That's it. Doesn't that sound refreshing? Try not to be productive and spend some of your time taking a walk and just delighting in creation, or listening to good music and delighting in the harmony and the balance of music. Whatever brings joy to your soul. Play checkers with the kids and remember that these kids and that checkerboard are gifts of God to you. Remember the Sabbath day as a day unto the Lord. Let it be as set apart as every other day.